Hello everyone, tis I your old pal King Chuck. I'm back. I hope this um I hope this does go out. As some of you may have known, I haven't done Bee-otch of the day in the longest time. I'm sorry. So yeah, the last Bee-otch of the day was back in January. It might have been before Drumpf, excuse me. We have a policy here. We don't call him Trump, we call him Drumpf because that's the name that he originally had, or at least his family did. So, Donnie Boy, when he became president again, before he became president again, we gave it to Hulk Hogan because the Hulkster got booed at a WWE event in Los Angeles. Now, little backstory, Hulk Hogan has been, he was basically rooting for the big fat Cheeto. And, his career has taken a big downturn over the years because of all the foolish shit that he's done. He bowed in front of Donald. He was caught on tape using the N-word multiple times. He caught cheating on his wife, even though he's a born-again Christian. And of course, he shut down. He calls himself, he calls himself a freedom fighter, Mr. Freedom of Speech, and he shuts down Gawker because of all the exposés they've done on him. Folks, and even worse, he did it all at the Intuit Dome, which was this arena that was built as a bit of a phoenix. Because here's the story. We all remember what happened with the Clippers, the basketball team. They were owned by a racist prick named Donald Sterling. Sterling was caught using the N-word in front of his mistress. Well, not the N-word. He was caught using, saying, don't bring those people to the games. And then what happened was the NBA did their little expose on him. They did their investigation. And then what happened was he ended up being banned from the NBA. He lost the Clippers. Steve Ballmer bought the team after so many years of piggybacking off of other teams, of stadiums. It was like, in terms of basketball, the Clippers were to the Lakers like Dollar General was to Macy's. You know what I mean? But since Steve Ballmer bought the team, not only did Ballmer make the team, competitive with the Lakers, he built them a brand new arena. And what a way to honor a brand new beginning by putting this douchebag into, and everyone booing at him. He deserved it. He's washed up. Fuck that asshole. Anyway, so Steve Ballmer, so Hulk Hogan can go fuck himself. And of course, since then, it was revealed a couple of things. Number one, Hulk's daughter no longer even talks to him. Yeah, Brooke Hogan. It's not even Brooke Hogan anymore. She married somebody, married a hockey player, and now she has his last name. And she no longer talks to Hulk. But here's another thing to think about. Hulk, another thing too was that the guy who composed Hulk's personal theme song, which was Real American, Rick Derringer, passed away recently. And I know a lot of people were very sad to hear about his passing. He was the lead singer of this 1960s band called, yeah, what were they? The McCoys? Yeah, Hang On Sloopy. And then he had a solo career. Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo was a smash hit for him. And he also was a successful record producer. He produced Weird Al Yankovic's albums, and he even played the guitar on his song Eat It. But I hate to break it to you. Sorry to sound like a Debbie Downer. Rick Derringer was an asshole too, because he was also a MAGA Republican and a personal butt buddy to the Hulkster. So there you go. So now here's the question. Here's the thing, folks. I've been typing up Bee-otch of the days for 26 years. And it takes a long time. And I'm a better talker than I am a typer. I'm serious. I mean, I call myself a fairly average typer, but I've been working on a couple of Bee-otch of the days this past year that I never published. And part of the reason why I never published them was due to the fact that it takes me forever to do anything. And part of the problem too is my father. So the story was 4 years ago, my dad and I moved in together. His wife left him, and my aunt suggested that we buy a house together because I've been in that same apartment for 19 years. I hated my apartment. And, I worked in a factory. My now former boss didn't give me any raises, and prices of everything went up. And, I mean, it's the Grand Rapids way of life. All these fucking Hollanders run this city. And they're all MAGA Republican, conservative. They don't care about you or me. And they only care about their values and their bullshit. So that's what happened. So anyway, I basically was put in a position where I could never save for a house. And not only that, I couldn't find a woman to spend my life with. I dated several women over the years, and the last girl I dated, one of the last women I dated screwed me of $1,000 because she was a junkie, she was a user. Oh my God, she was a royal cunt, and she only pretended to like me. And I know I've had really bad luck with women over the years. I hate to say it, but it's true. So it just got to the point where people were like, maybe if Chuck and his father moved in together, he can actually have a house. So the story is, I was a little leery about it, but I knew it had to happen because my dad was getting up there in age, and it turned out to work out for the good in some ways. But it's the sad thing about my father is he was a high school dropout, and he himself is a MAGA Republican himself, which I hate with a passion. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you how bad of a MAGA Republican he is. He watches Fox News Channel religiously, with a capital religiously. And I'll tell you how bad it is. So if we're watching a baseball game together and there's a green screen, you can see screen burns of Fox News logos and graphics and all around our screen. It is disgusting. It's all burned in because that's his life. He watches this garbage, and not only that, he goes out and watches TikTok videos and believes that these videos are all true. That, Donald Trump is going to give us a shit ton of money. Doge is saving us a lot of money. And, we're all going to get checks for $5,000. Yeah. You know, my dad doesn't know how AI works. And a lot of these fucking videos that he watches are all from Russia. And one video he watched showed Obama actually coming out as gay. And, there's evidence that Michelle Obama is also a man, and she has a dick. You know, I understand. I have to live with it, at least until that day comes. And, the story with my father was that a year and a half ago, he had back surgery. So he recently had back surgery after a year and a half of waiting for it. We've had x-rays, we've had MRIs, all that good shit. Fun. Hold on a second. I'm in my car. I got to start it up. It's a little hot outside, unfortunately. So anyway, get the old AC going. I'm in a Target parking lot, by the way. So what happened was my father started the good news was my father finally had surgery a week and a half ago after waiting for everything to happen. And it did. And now he's in a lot of pain, and, he's starting to become dependent on oxycodone, and it's not fun. So hopefully things will start to look up for him pretty soon. So I'm thinking, that we need to start doing this more as a podcast instead of me spending an hour or two in front of a keyboard. I think this is going to be a lot easier if we do it as a podcast from now on. And let me explain to you part of it. So my father, I don't want my father seeing me, looking over my shoulder and saying, "What you typing?" And he looks over what I'm typing, and it's like, "Oh, you can't say that. Trump is the good guy." Oh, folks, it is big news right now. Watching, Trump and Elon going into their little hissy fit against each other, and I know the MAGA army is gonna defend Trump, or Drumpf, excuse me, because he's their guy. And all I can say is I don't know, folks. I agree with Elon, even though he's an asshole, even though he makes really shitty vehicles, and I hate these. Yeah, I will still proudly call his Cybertrucks swastikars. But the point is, folks, is that look at what happened, folks. Back in the 1930s, the tariffs worsened the Great Depression, and that's what Trump wants. He wants to create a Great Depression. He's going to make 2029 the next 1929. And he's doing it. It's like people were crying that Biden was, we have high gas prices, and the price of eggs, $7 a dozen. Folks, Trump is going to folks, I'm going to tell you this right now. The price of coffee at Costco, my brand that I buy, before Trump became president, it was like $10 a sack. Now it's $15. Prices are going up across the board, and it's Trump's fault. He is, to the presidency of the United States, he reminds me of Brian Fellows if he was white. Everything is bad. I mean, the good guy is the bad guy, and the bad guy is the good guy. That's what Trump is all about. And, you know, all I can say is that I hate these people who think that, oh, 4 more years, yeah, sucks to be you. Okay. I'll bet you, the question is, will you be the one laughing when you lose your job and your home? Folks, he's going to make his second term probably even worse than Herbert Hoover's. Herbert Hoover, or even George W. Bush's. George W. Bush was a horrible president, and I hate it when people put these memes out there and they have him laughing with Clinton and Obama and Biden. It's like, quit making him into a fucking hero. Anyway, so that's why I'm here. That's why I'm trying to do this as a podcast. I want to talk more and more as time goes on. I want to create a podcast that, turn this into a podcast. Give you an excuse not to listen to boring local radio. And I know podcasts are pretty cool. There's nothing. I have nothing against podcasts. Folks, let me tell you a little story. Since George W. Bush, since Trump became president again, 2 people who I highly respect quit their radio shows and podcasts. Of course, the big one to me is Darren Gibson. He did Southpaws for over a decade. He did the show on WPRR 1680 here in town, of course. Hold on just a minute. I'm actually in my car right now. This is what 1680 sounds like right now. It's off the air. And guess what the FM is doing? I'm at 102.5. There we go. Bobby Brown. Ugh. Yep, the man who helped to kill Whitney Houston. Well, the point is, I'll talk more about Tyrone later. Tyrone Bynum, biggest fucking douchebag in the history of Grand Rapids radio, or one of them. It's like Grand Rapids is such a shitty radio market. I can't even begin to talk about it. And you think that Cumulus and Town Square and iHeartMedia, they're all bad companies. Well, the local operators aren't great either. You see, Darren announced on his radio, on Southpaws recently, that he was not going to be able to do the show anymore. And part of the reason why was because of his aging mother. He's taking care of her. And he's also, he also lives way out in the boonies. He's having issues. So he lives so far out in the boonies, he doesn't have an internet connection. So uploading Southpaws to the internet and Pacifica was just getting to becoming too much of a chore for him. So he had to discontinue. And he really wanted to do the show with somebody else. And I told him personally, my dad's a mega Republican. It's not going to happen. So anyway, so that's where we're at. But another person I highly admire is Randy Rhoads. And Randy, not Ozzy's guitarist, but Randy Rhoads, who is a talk radio diva out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Randy was forced to give up her radio show because she announced that she was recently diagnosed with lung cancer, and it doesn't look very good for her. And all I can say is my thoughts are definitely with her right now. She has been in talk radio for many, many years. So many great talk radio hosts were from Florida. Her and Neil Rogers. Neil, who was openly gay. He was openly attacked by these religious nuts for years because of his sexuality and his life. And all I can say is, I mean, of course, Neil died many years ago, and he is very well missed. So, all I can say is, I feel that radio, the future is podcast. I agree. I look at traditional radio and the fact that too many douchebags are running the business. It's a business that's not about personality anymore. It's a business that's all about making money and hearing the same songs over and over again, firing people for being just too good at what they're doing. I mean, it breaks my... But, it's like these big radio corporations, they don't want any leftist voices, period, end of story. They want a talking head. They want to joke about the Democrats and, they want all this false masculinity that's going on. AM talk radio is a joke because of... And even after the death of Rush Limbaugh, which I applaud. Thank God Rush is dead. It all started for me when Howard Stern moved to satellite radio. It was a good career move because so many radio stations didn't want to carry his show and because of the religious right. And now look at radio today. It's a joke. Too many overplayed songs, not enough variety, too many commercials, too many personalities who are just boring as fuck. And, we'll talk more about radio, the business of radio, later on. But look at what happened recently. It was revealed not too long ago that one of the most listened to podcasts, it ain't Joe Rogan is still one of the tops. But get this. There's these three brothers from Long Island, New York, named MeidasTouch, and they host this podcast called the MeidasTouch, and get this, it's now one of the top podcasts on the internet right now. They have almost 5 million subscribers on YouTube. I've listened to the Meidas brothers, and they're fun. It's a decent show. I mean, it's not as extreme as Southpaws was, unfortunately. I mean, I miss Southpaws. I mean, Darren, I loved it when Darren would get really pissed off. I loved that. But the problem is that the MeidasTouch brothers, they're not very extreme. And I think part of the reason why is because sometimes during one of their podcasts, one of the guys, I think it's Ben who does the most podcasting. He has a kid crying in the background. He's a father. And I'm like, ugh. And I can understand the lack of profanity and the lack of getting pissed off. But it is what it is with him. But everybody has their own opinion on how to do a podcast and how it should be done. I mean, we're not under FCC rules and regulations. I can cuss and swear over whatever I want. I don't have to bow to advertisers. I mean, if there's somebody who wants to advertise with me, God bless them. I mean, that's up to them. But, of course, Chuck69.com has not made any real money. I just do it as a hobby. And because I want my voice to be heard. Because too many times in my life I've been silenced. I've had people tell me to shut up, and people interrupting me and just being flat out rude. And I'm like, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Period, end of story. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, that's your problem. I mean, turn this podcast off right now and go back to listening to whatever you were listening to. Probably crappy AM talk radio, maybe. The same overplayed shit that's played on the radio right now. Do what you want to do. But I will be heard. And if you want to try to censor me, well, I got news for you, folks. Everybody who has sent me a cease and desist order, karma has hit them hard on the ass. Okay? Don't fuck with Chuck. Anyway, I'm going to see how this will do. And I'll try to podcast often. Maybe, I'll try to bring back Bee-otch of the day. I got a couple of them in mind. But I will be heard. And, I think this will be a better alternative for you to, instead of just reading it, and, you can drive in your car and listen to this podcast. So, we'll see how things go. Anyway, I gotta get going. I got stuff I gotta do today. It's Saturday afternoon, and I'm still, I'm wasting gas right now as I'm speaking. Let's see. It went down a little bit, the MPG motor in my vehicle. Okay, gotta run. Bye-bye.